Am I the a-hole for refusing to stop seeing my granddaughter despite my son's wishes? My son, 40, is what people call a ladies' man. I had a problem with it until last year when he got a girl 20 pregnant because he said that rubbers don't work for him, so they had unprotected sessions. When he found out about the baby, he blocked the mom and ghosted her for a month. He came to tell me about it once his baby's mom reached out again, saying that he didn't have to care for the baby, but that he had to pay child support. I was shocked and told him that he could either step up or not, but that I would have a relationship with the child because it is my only grandchild. He chooses to not step up and try to fight child support, but a month ago he was placed on it. Now that my granddaughter Lily is born, I have been helping pay for everything because her mom is in college and my son quit his job so his payments would go down. I am very disappointed in him. I watch Lily during her mom's classes and pay for her to have a nanny so the mom can work hard to get her degree. Money is no problem for my family, but my son is very angry that I'm helping them out. He says that they should not get my money and that if the mom needed help, then she should have gotten rid of the baby. I told him that I will continue to help them because my granddaughter is innocent in this, and that he was the one who refused to wear a protection so they should not have their lives ruined. He said that it is either him or them, and I said that I would always help my granddaughter. He has stopped talking to me, and my daughter said that I went too far and that I should just cut ties with them. Am I the a-hole for helping them against my son's wishes? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, but your son is a giant a-hole. He is entitled and selfish, and frankly creepy that at 40 he knocked up a 20-year-old. He needs to grow up. I would disinherit him in a heartbeat. Write a will that cannot be challenged and make sure to get an attestation from a medical professional stating you were sound of mind when the will was drafted. But leave him enough money for a box of rubbers. Wait, he's 40 and she's 20? Have you had a second to digest that truth? Good riddance. Let him be a spoiled, disgusting individual. You are doing the right thing. A 40-year-old who quit his job so the 20-year-old he got pregnant by refusing to wear rubbers gets zero money to raise his child. Makes my stomach hurt reading that. I would give your son zero money from here on out, Opie. Not the a-hole. He said that rubbers don't work for him. Your son is an a-hole, and probably a walking STI vector. When he found out about the baby, he blocked the mom and ghosted her for a month. Seriously, he's just awful. You must be ashamed of him on many levels. You sound like an amazing woman, grandmother, and general person. Bluntly, your son's wishes don't mean anything. Your son's opinions about who cares for his child stopped being relevant a long time ago. I realize he's a grown man and his own master, but he needs to remember that you're a grown woman and your own master. Honestly, I'd be no contact with him over this kind of thing. There's something broken within him. He needs a serious attitude adjustment. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole for refusing to stop supporting your granddaughter's mother. On the other hand, you do bear some responsibility for raising this absolute sluggard. The fact that Opie admitted to brushing aside his behavior in the past because he is a ladies' man? Only when the behavior became grotesque, Opie realized that son is bad. How many lesser evils has Opie brushed under the carpet in her son's upbringing? Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for making my daughter sleep in the backyard after what she did to our housemaid? My male 46 daughter 16 is a high school junior. I noticed recently that she's been behaving in a bad manner, constantly commenting on other people's looks, belongings, calling them stuff that isn't cool, and just being insensitive. It's like she lost a filter or something, because usually she's polite. But my wife suspected that our daughter's sudden misbehavior occurred after she started hanging out with the new girls from the school. Basically the mean type and have picked on their behavior. I've sat my daughter and had many discussions about how her behavior has been negatively affecting everyone around her. Our housemaid is the person most affected here, and my daughter has chosen her to be her target for hair/clothes/etiquette criticisms. She has complained about our daughter calling her offensive names, like filthy and gross for cleaning certain areas in our house. I took a stand and explicitly told my daughter I'd punish her if she ever said stuff like that to our housemaid again. Last week my daughter had a party to go to, but earlier that day she called our housemaid filthy, so I grounded her by not letting her go to the party. She threw a fit and called our housemaid a liar, saying she never called her that. That was the end of it. Days later, my daughter came to me saying she couldn't find her iPhone after looking everywhere. She asked me to call her number, and I did. My wife and I were stunned to discover that the iPhone was ringing inside our housemaid's bag. I had a confrontation with the housemaid immediately, and she denied and cried, saying she never touched the phone, nor had any idea how it got there. I noticed my daughter calling her a thief repeatedly, so I told her to stop and go to her room. I checked the indoor camera before continuing the argument, and saw my daughter place her iPhone inside our housemaid's bag. I was livid. I apologized to our housemaid and gave her the rest of the day off. I then showed the video to my daughter and she was absolutely speechless. I said what she did was immoral and straight up offensive to tamper with that poor woman's livelihood over a petty party she couldn't go to. I told her she was grounded and will have to spend the night in the backyard. She's a germaphobe, but she cried begging me to not make her sleep with the dirt, insects, and hot temperature. I refused to discuss it or I'd make it 2 nights. My wife said I should go easy on her, but I said calling people filthy and accusing them of stealing wasn't okay. In fact, it was the absolute worst. I then went through with my punishment. The reason I chose this punishment was because of the fact that my daughter says she is a germaphobe and used this as excuse to insult others' hygiene and appearance. Our backyard has dirt and bugs in it, and this kind of things get her uncomfortable. But other than that, the backyard is 100% safe. Question: why doesn't she clean up and do house chores as punishment instead? Because I've already tried this punishment before and it didn't work. Because she deliberately stopped eating for days to get out of it and ended up in the emergency department for low blood pressure. Not stay home, but you should give your housekeeper a week off with pay and make your daughter take her place, unpaid. This is the appropriate discipline. Go online and print out websites for military boarding schools out of state that take females. Tell her if she doesn't straighten up immediately, there will be consequences. Then call the applications department and put it on speakerphone. Also, make sure she knows the day she turns 18. You don't owe her anything. She better be a good person or she can't support herself. I'd make her do the housemaid's job for 2 weeks, but pay the housemaid for the work. You are not able to come down hard on her though and knock it on the head. This is an excellent punishment. I'd also go with giving her a flip phone for a good long time. Not stay home. Your daughter deserves a DEFCON 1 level punishment. That's some messed up crap she did. That said, I'd probably pick something besides making her sleep in the backyard. Too temporary, too unusual, too easy for her to make herself out to be the victim. It's both too much and not enough. Spend 1 weekend per month of her grounded without phone year picking up trash on the side of the road with her. Yes, you suggested good alternatives. The punishment should be constructive and educational. Picking trash and volunteering is effective. It's unacceptable to falsely accuse the housekeeper of stealing, and she has to endure the appropriate repercussions subsequently. You're the a-hole. Your child has obvious issues if she's willing to starve herself as a tactic. Have you tried therapy? Or anything other than straight punishment? Pete's sake. If she really is a germaphobe, that's a real medical condition. And by forcing her to sleep outside, you are being an emotionally and physically abusive a-hole. And yes, it's physical mistreatment as well. Disgusting. Next story. Am I the a-hole for only paying for a portion of my son's college, even though he had money from his dead brother's college fund? I, female 58, will always be a mother of my twin sons, Thomas and Sam. In the summer after they graduated when they were 18, Thomas passed away. I can't begin to explain how broken I was. At that point, Sam had already accepted an offer to go to an Ivy League school. My husband and I had about $100,000 each saved up for the boys. But Sam's school was so expensive that the money wouldn't cover it. Before Thomas passed, Sam was fine with taking out student loans to cover the rest. Then we lost Thomas. Less than 2 months after it happened, Sam asked if he could have the $100,000 that was set aside for Thomas. I lost it on him, but I told him that it was Thomas's money and not his, and it deserved to go to Thomas. This is where I might have been the a-hole, because Sam could have used that money, but he didn't get a cent of it. To be fair, my husband and I didn't get a cent of it either. We donated it all to various charities against drunk driving in memory of Thomas. That was all about 10 years ago. Sam took out student loans, but he is so young and already a very successful lawyer. I believe he's paid most of the loans off by now, possibly all. If it matters at all, my husband and I contributed a significant amount, about $50,000, to his law school tuition as well. I thought we were past it, but the other day Sam brought up how unfair it was for me to refuse to give him Thomas's money. We had a tearful argument over it, and now I just don't know what to think. If I could do it again, I still don't think I would give that money to Sam. Does that make me an a-hole? Edit. Because some people are confused about the way I worded things, here's a better explanation of the money. We had 2 separate college accounts for the boys. Each account had $100,000 in it. After Thomas passed, Sam still got the $100,000 he always knew he'd get. He just didn't get the additional $100,000 from Thomas's account. We never took money away from Sam. We just didn't give him any extra money that he wouldn't have had if Thomas had been alive. You're the a-hole, although I'm sorry for your loss. Your living son is grieving too. His life was forever affected by his brother's loss. You could have supported him and made it easier by helping him financially, but instead you made it clear that his brother's memory is more of a priority to you. Surely, Thomas would have wanted that money to help his brother. If I was your remaining child, I would have been so heartbroken. If I'm reading this right, they gave him $150,000 already, and they're an a-hole for not making it $250,000? Really? I don't think they are a-holes for not giving the money. It's the way they lashed out at their son that's so awful. They worded it in such a bad manner. That's the a-hole part. Let me ask, if you were reeling from your son's death and the body wasn't even cold and your other son asked for his money, would you feel happy/elated? You're pretty pissed off that your sons, their brothers, funds were more important to the other twin. Mild, you're the a-hole. Look, I get wanting to donate it to different charities. There's nothing wrong with that. But you should not have lashed out at your son like that. Your wording is horrible. You could have said, we want to donate it in Thomas's name, to people who've suffered like he had at the hands of drunk drivers, and that would have been okay. Your son wasn't an a-hole for asking the money, and you were not an a-hole for denying him. But the way you did it was awful. You should sit him down and apologize for the way you reacted back then. You did not need to lose it on him like that. That wasn't a question. I think Opie knows she was the a-hole for doing that, but she's just asking if she's the a-hole for not giving him the money. You're the a-hole. Why would you tell your son that his money deserved to go to his deceased brother? How does that make sense? $100,000 to an anti-drunk driving charity seriously just seems like they threw the money away in my opinion. $100,000 to college is productive. Throwing money to bloated charities that tell people not to do the things they already know not to do just sounds like a waste to me. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for asking my girlfriend not to eat so much? I know the title sounds bad, but this is a pretty specific situation, so please hear me out. I, 26 male, have been dating a woman we will call Ashley, 26 female, for about 3 months. Ashley grew up financially well off and relatively privileged, and it has been a point of friction in our relationship with her not understanding/grasping the level of poverty I, my family, grew up with. It is also relevant to this story that Ashley is a heavier person. It is a very vocal advocate for body positivity and will very assertively and stand up to anyone shaming herself or others. The other person who is relevant to this story is my grandma, 70. My grandmother is a wonderful woman, but she is both very proud and very broke. She likes to have us over for dinner and is an excellent cook, but financially she can't really afford it. She refuses to take any money from me or anyone else and won't let anyone bring food, saying it's her responsibility to take care of the family. She also takes offense if you turn down the invitation. About a month ago, we had dinner with her and Ashley liked the food so much she went back for second and third large portions. This is not done in my family. We all take a single small portion, as the leftovers are what my grandmother has to eat for the week. So Ashley taking more meant my grandmother didn't eat for the next couple days. After the dinner, I explained this to Ashley, and she was shocked. I tried to bring my grandmother food, but she refused the charity out of pride. My grandmother has invited us to dinner again this weekend. Before we went, I tried to have a discussion with Ashley reiterating my grandmother's financial situation and asking that she try to only take a single smaller portion so my grandmother can have food for the week. I said we could go eat again after the meal if she was still hungry. Ashley got very angry at this and said she will not be shamed for her eating. She will not limit her food, and that no one other than her decides when she's had enough food. She also said I was fat-shaming her. This whole ordeal has highlighted a lot of incompatibility issues, and I don't know if the relationship is going to last, but just want some other opinions on if I'm the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for asking my girlfriend to limit her eating? Edit. A lot of people are asking why I didn't tell my girlfriend before the first meal. To be frank, I didn't think of it. It hadn't occurred to me that someone would go to someone else's house and eat 2 days' worth of food in a sitting. Oh, I was ready with the judgment with the title and first paragraph, but not day home. She could eat before or after. You're not shaming her. She just doesn't care about grandma. That's not a great quality. Agreed. If she doesn't care about an older lady who is being very kind and generous, warning there, then she should at least care that it is an important person to Opie. Additional warning. All the way around, it sounds like it's all about her and nobody else matters in the least. It also sounds like she has some past shaming issues that she's going to take out on people, regardless of what their actual intention was. I agree. It sounds like no matter what Opie says, she's going to see it as shaming. But her world doesn't revolve around Ashley, and she definitely lacks some empathy. This is not about her at all. This is about Opie's grandma. Opie, my grandmother, is also a very proud lady who would not accept money or food. But she would accept a dinner invitation. Would your grandma accept if you invited her to your place or a restaurant to have a nice meal? That way it doesn't have to sound like charity. You could put it as returning the favor and having family time. She's literally taking food out of your grandma's mouth. The fact that she still has an attitude after you explain the situation? She's a massive a-hole. Not stay home. Dump her. Agreed. But also wondering why grandmother is so proud that she would rather not eat than allow her family to help her out. There comes a point where pride borders on stupidity. If your grandmother is so proud, how do you know that she won't eat for the rest of the week? Your grandmother is an adult who chooses to serve a certain amount of food and seems to get a lot of pleasure from feeding her family. It sounds to me like you are simultaneously fat-shaming Ashley. The issue has nothing to do with her weight. Why mention it? And infantilizing your independently living adult grandmother. You're the a-hole, in case that wasn't clear. Read this back to yourself and realize how stupid it sounds. Am I the a-hole for grossly humiliating my boyfriend in front of his whole family after he engagement pranked me? My now ex-boyfriend Keith, male 38, and I, female 40, had problems because of his constant pranks. He has a thing for making his targets look ridiculous. I warned him many times that I'm not a forgiving person and that he was undermining my trust. He laughed it off, and I kept giving him chances because he has redeeming qualities. He's funny without pranks, acts as a good listener, and generally shows me deference. However, these traits began to fade away, and I don't know why. It kind of shifted. I don't know if showing him love made him think that he could do this. We never had fights, although we had disagreements, and I tended to clam up if I was really hurt. This happened twice. The first time was very out of the blue. We attended a gala hosted by our city council. I'm using the quotes gala because this isn't in a huge city. Galas are looked forward to, but are not the high-class, upper-class, inaccessible type. He liked the way that they treated us. I was the actual guest and he was my +1. And he asked me if I could help him get an interview, as he wanted to launch his small business and maybe they would be interested. I made no promises, but got him a meeting that I attended along with him. On our way back, we stopped at a deli and ran into my ex, with whom I'm cordial. Keith was enraged because I answered my ex's greeting and said that I was too friendly and that it was disrespectful. That lasted for about 10 minutes. We sat at my place to eat our takeout, and he immediately said very inappropriate things about my best friend. I immediately called him out for trying to make me jealous. He laughed at first, but when I asked what was funny, he left and took his food. We talked about it later, but a few days afterward, I realized that he never properly apologized. Second, he criticized my outfit and said that I looked ridiculous in it. I should have dumped him right then, but chose to put it in the back of my mind because I already had a lot on my plate, career and family-wise. I also held out hope that we could go back to the way things used to be. I was never able to shake off that feeling of being hurt, although we seem to have reached a very stable phase after that. Then he started with his pranking ways again. First, I caught him trying to hide the birthday cake that I got for my friend. Then, he hit the gas pedal a few times when I was about to get in his car. Last week, we were at his mother's house for his birthday party. Everything felt pretty normal until everyone got really quiet. It was just weird. I looked at him, and he immediately took a knee. This was the worst feeling. First of all, we had not reached a stage leading to an engagement. Second, I thought it was likely a prank, but I didn't know how to react. I don't know if he told everyone that he was about to propose, and they were quiet in honest anticipation, or if they knew, or maybe some of them knew. If he was being honest, I wouldn't want to say no in front of his family, so I would have probably had to say yes and then say no in private. If it was a prank, then he would have humiliated me in front of over 20 people. So what I did was ask what he was doing, and he said I was seeing him and that I knew. I said no, I didn't know. So he insisted. I said, all right, and asked to see what was in the box, and that I would react accordingly. The fact that he looked off, maybe realizing that he had messed up, maybe wanting to double down, but I'll never know, was a huge red flag. He opened the box and he had a beer can tab in it. I told him off right then. I said that he took a knee to present junk, just like he tried to suck up to people to get them to sign up for his tacky, insignificant LLC so that he could push his trash services that he hardly knows how to do. I also mentioned how he lost his job twice and said I fully understand why he couldn't afford a real ring. I asked him if he honestly saw me marrying a man-child. His family was offended. Some of them looked uncomfortable, but some of them acted like I went overboard. He tried to apologize, but I told him to stick it up his butt and that we were done. Needless to say, it was a crap show. I had no exit plan because I didn't know that I would have to walk out, and I didn't have my car. So I had to walk with his cousins following me and convincing me that he didn't mean to hurt me and that it was dangerous to walk home alone. I had to walk about 30 minutes until I found an available Uber. I made a Facebook post explaining why I did what I did and that I couldn't see my future self with a scumbag. His brother's girlfriend and I have a good relationship. I find her to be very honest and reasonable. She reached out to check how I was doing and to let me know that neither she nor her boyfriend had anything to do with it and that I was right to be mad. But she also said that while she has never gotten along with Keith, this is true, ousting him as a workforce failure in front of his family was too much and that his family was thrown off. I asked what she thought I should do since I'm not going to do anything to make him feel better, and that's that. And if he ever tries to contact me, I will make sure things get even more painful, if that's even how he feels. To be honest, I'm embarrassed. I stood up for myself, but I guess I went overboard, and maybe I should have just turned around and walked away. Was I extra for this? Now for the top comments. Why do you feel embarrassed? He wanted to embarrass you in front of his whole family. Who makes a prank with a marriage proposal like that? Yes, only a man-child would do this. Seriously, all you did was tell the truth about him. If the truth upsets them that much, maybe they should be looking at why he's such a useless bum and questioning if maybe his constant pranks and crap are a sign of a bigger maturity problem. A 38-year-old man-baby who doesn't understand that pranks are only pranks if everyone laughs. Otherwise, it's bullying. Good riddance, I say. Who makes a prank with a marriage proposal like that? An abuser. Ever notice how all these people who prank are just emotionally and physically abusing their partners? Not the a-hole. He seems like a guy who likes to draw attention to himself at the cost of others. I should congratulate you, really, for finally letting him taste some of his own medicine. Sounds like it was less of a proposal and more of a prank-posal. Sorry you had to go through that, but at least you got a good story out of it. Also, don't worry about what others think. You were completely justified in calling him out on his immature behavior. Breaking up with him was long overdue. Next story. Am I the a-hole for having my mother yell at me for having intercourse with my girlfriend in my own apartment when we're both 26 years of age? So, I, 26 male, live with my girlfriend, 26 female, in an apartment that I pay for. We've been together for 3 years, and our relationship is great. We're both working professionals, fully independent, and like any normal couple, we even have an active sex life. Enter my mother, 54 female. She's always been a little overbearing, but since I moved out when I started dating my girlfriend, I thought things had gotten better. Apparently, I was wrong. Last weekend, my mom came over to drop off some homemade food, which was nice, I'll give her that. I had told her she could stop by after 4 p.m. since my girlfriend and I were having a lazy morning. But of course she decided to show up 2 hours early with her spare key, which she has for emergencies. Well, my girlfriend and I were in the bedroom, clearly busy, when we heard my mother banging on the bedroom door. She was shouting my name and saying things like, "I know what you're doing in there," and "have some respect." I scrambled to throw on some clothes, went out, and asked her what the heck she was doing here unannounced. She started yelling at me about how it was disgusting and inappropriate to be doing that while guests are over. I reminded her that 1. This is my apartment. 2. She wasn't supposed to be here yet. 3. We're 2 consenting adults. She was having none of it. She called me disrespectful, said I had no manners, and even told my girlfriend that she should be ashamed, which WTF. My girlfriend just walked out of the room, grabbed her keys and left, because she wasn't dealing with that nonsense. I ended up arguing with my mom for 10 more minutes before telling her to leave and return the spare key. She refused at first, but I stood my ground until she finally handed it over. She left in a huff and later texted me, saying she was deeply disappointed in how I spoke to her. Now my dad and sister are both telling me I was too harsh and that I shouldn't have put her in that situation. I argued that she put herself in that situation by showing up unannounced and barging into my home. Have some respect. LMAO, the hypocrisy, not the a-hole. You, OP, can reply that since your mother disrespected your home, your space, and your girlfriend, you expect an apology from her. You are an adult, an independent one, yet she treats you like a 10-year-old. Stand your ground now, otherwise she will waltz all over you and your girlfriend. Exactly. If she wants to talk about respect, it goes both ways. She disrespected your space, your relationship, and your boundaries. If anything, she owes you an apology, not the other way around. Stand firm now, or she'll keep pushing limits in the future. Not the a-hole. You gave your mother a set time to visit, and she disregarded it. Besides, what you do in your own house is none of her business. Seriously, I've had spare keys to friends' houses for emergencies, or because they tended to be forgetful with their keys, and I didn't mind being a backup storage for emergency keys. I've shown up early before because I knew or thought they were just hanging out beforehand. You knock or ring the bell, or these days, text as well. It would never even occur to me to use the key to let myself in, unless it was like an hour after our meeting time, their car was there, lights were on, etc. Essentially worrying that they'd had a medical event or something crazy. Whether OP's mom was looking to catch them doing something, or she was genuinely shocked while wanting to surprise him, she's immature, has poor emotional regulation, and firmly belongs to the camp of "you're my child, I don't ever owe you respect." The rest of OP's family is either getting a false story, or just plainly wants to give in to keep the peace with what is clearly a deeply annoying woman. I bet they don't want to deal with her tantrums, and are trying to get OP to apologize so they don't have to be around her in that kind of mood. I'm guessing they try to pacify her, aka enable, just to make their lives easier. Next story. Am I the a-hole for unintentionally causing my co-worker's marriage to implode? I, 32 male, need to know if I'm the villain here. 2 to 3 years ago, I worked the shifts with a married co-worker, Crystal, 33 female, who has a husband and a kid. Because it was always just the two of us consistently available for shifts, over months, she'd vent to me daily about her marital issues, fights, resentment, petty drama. I stayed neutral, even defended her husband every time. No flirting, no texting outside work, never shared my own problems. It was strictly one-sided, and no, there was never any physical contact. Then during one shift, I snapped and opened up about my abusive fiancé, now ex. That morning when I was clearly looking stressed, Crystal asked, "What do you do to relieve stress?" I responded bluntly with, "Jerk off," while walking away. Not a great answer. Later in the afternoon, she asked why I was still upset, and I vented vaguely. Her response was, "Why don't we have fun tonight?" "You're stressed. I'm stressed too with him." Man, she propositioned me for an affair. I shut that down immediately, but later that night, she texted a photo of herself in a see-through nightgown where her private parts were clearly visible, saying, "Maybe you need one," and asking if I was alone. I replied, "Are you crazy?" and ignored it. The next day, her husband found out. Turns out, she sent the picture as revenge because he had been texting his ex, and his ex sent a photo, but not as revealing as the one she sent to me. Her excuse? He did it first. Now her marriage is in shambles. Her husband, whom I collaborated with and respected, is humiliated and barely speaks to me. Co-workers are gossiping about her, but some think I was too friendly with her. Here's why I might be the a-hole. I let her trauma dump on me for months nonstop. Maybe I enabled emotional intimacy that crossed lines? I vented about my ex once, which she unknowingly used to justify her advance. Her marriage has never been the same again, and I feel indirectly responsible. But I also think I never flirted, encouraged her, or crossed boundaries. She chose to cheat, and I rejected her immediately. Was I just being a decent listener, even though I'm not sure I should have been? Or did I screw up by not shutting her down sooner? So, did I destroy a marriage? Edit. A Redditor suggested I might be the reason her husband texted his ex. That makes sense. For months, she vented to me, and at some point, she may have become comfortable and started comparing her husband to me. Perhaps he became jealous and sought revenge by texting his ex. Furthermore, I don't know all the details, but Crystal previously told me he cheated on her while she was pregnant, and then she retaliated by texting her ex. Her ex then sent nostalgic photos of them in bed. God, it's like an endless cycle of revenge cheating. Now for the top comments. You can't be blamed for her actions, not the a-hole. While true, be careful about talking with a coworker about jerking off. That could easily lead to trouble. I never intended to tease. I genuinely do that whenever I'm stressed, and when I'm stressed, I get pretty blunt. I never thought she would take it so far. Her decisions are on her. You are just an outlet, not a culprit. And you clearly shut down any attempts at intimacy. Nah, her marriage was already down the hopper. First rule of Fight Club, don't talk about your marital issues to your coworker. Tyler Durden probably. But seriously, you may have unknowingly enabled her to cross boundaries, but ultimately, it was her choice to cheat. Don't beat yourself up too much. Just make sure to learn from this situation. I mean, I am friendly with a lot of my colleagues. We talk about our relationship, romantic, friendly, familial issues often, but amazingly enough, we have never propositioned each other afterward. Last story. Am I the a-hole? My boyfriend goes on walks for 5 to 7 hours and doesn't communicate where he is. Me, 36 female, and my boyfriend, 37 male, have been together for 5 years. He has extreme anxiety and panic attacks and will take long walks to calm down, which I am supportive of. On numerous occasions, these walks have turned into other adventures, and he doesn't update me. I have woken up at 3 a.m., 5 a.m., or even 8 a.m. the next morning to find him still not home. After worried and frantic calls, he will reluctantly answer and make me out to be unreasonable and controlling. The places I have located him at after hours of no contact include numerous bars that are closed, a hotel across town with random people, friends' houses I do not know, breakfast and drinks with strangers, a 55-year-old woman's house having a heart-to-heart, and parties with strangers he met on his walk. Am I the a-hole for being worried and angry when he doesn't communicate where he is going, or if his walks turn into hangouts with friends? I think it's extremely disrespectful, but he says I'm being controlling. My ex-husband did this exact same thing. He'd blame his mental health for needing to go on a walk and clear his head at the most random times, day, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, gone for hours. Wouldn't answer the phone, tell me where he was, or where he'd been. He was having an affair. You beat me to it. My ex-wife would do the same thing, claim she was having a panic attack, needed to clear her head, needed to calm down, needed to go on a drive, etc., and would disappear for hours at a time. Sure enough, she was living a full-blown second life with a girlfriend. Being gone for hours at a time like this is a huge red flag. Good Lord, you sweet summer child. Your boyfriend is stepping out on you for many and apparently varied adventures, none of which you should be putting up with. Having a heart-to-heart with some random woman, they were putting body parts together, but it was not their hearts. If you stay with him even one more day, you're the a-hole. People can't honestly be this clueless, can they? Hope y'all but has to read what she wrote. not the a-hole. These supposed walks ending in unlikely to actually be random places are not about him preventing panic attacks. There's a lot more deception going on than you think, and his defensiveness and comments about your perfectly reasonable, normal questions/worries being too controlling are another tip-off. Affairs, addiction, does it matter? Because bottom line, he's not being honest and is gaslighting you. Red flags. He's not acting like a healthy partner at all, and he doesn't seem like he even cares to be one. Your instincts are sounding alarms. You already know this is not in your head. Yeah, the panic attacks are a red herring. There is no medically accepted treatment for anxiety that involves the person doing absolutely whatever they want whenever they want, with zero questions or consequences. Now for the mini update. Thanks for your replies, everyone. I have been suspecting for a while that he either needs psychiatric care or has an alcohol addiction, or both. He hasn't been listening to me, and I needed the help of a bunch of strangers on the internet to feel confident in addressing his need for mental health care. I wanted to have this written thread as a backup, to show him that I'm not being unreasonable, and that this is a big issue.